Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're immersing ourselves in a source that's maybe less about the external winds and, well, much more about our internal landscape.
Yeah, it's quite different.
We've been reading these excerpts from a text called The Quiet We Finally Allow, and it's deeply introspective.
Definitely. It's not really a how-to guide for, getting ahead.
No, not at all. It's more like a mirror, isn't it? Held up to the face we show everyone.
A very profound mirror. It kind of demands this, well, intense, but also quite gentle reflection.
Yeah.
These books we read, they really force you to confront that gap,
Yeah.
between the polished version of you.
The one for meetings, for social media.
Right, that version, and then the behind-the-scenes reality, the one that's often just quiet
Yeah.
and exhausted.
So our mission for this deep dive, it feels really personal, actually, but I think it applies to, well, almost everyone.
I think so too.
We're going to try and analyze the psychological costs, the emotional weight of keeping up that public front, that facade of strength of always being happy.
We're seeming happy.
Exactly. Seeming happy. And crucially, we want to explore the text's kind of radical idea for what peace really is, an alternative definition.
One that doesn't need to be earned, right? That's key.
That's the core of it. It doesn't need earning.
And it feels like an investigation that's really needed right now, doesn't it? Our culture, it just seems so biased towards being visible, being loud, constantly producing.
Always on.
Always on, yeah. And this text, it deliberately asks us to just pause and re-examine the value of, well, stillness.
Yeah.
Of honesty.
And the space that opens up when we just stop performing.
Exactly, that space.
And the whole thing, really, it pivots around this one single sentence.
Yeah.
It seems simple at first, almost deceptive,
It really does.
but it cuts deep. It's the phrase that sort of frames everything. I hope one day you're as happy as you pretend to be.
Oof. Yeah, that phrase. It's masterful, isn't it? Such quiet observation.
It is.
When you first hear it, it sounds, well, soft. Kind, even. Like someone just wishing you well.
Right, it's a simple wish.
But the longer you sit with it, wow, it just slices through all those layers of pretense we build up.
And crucially, like the text points out, it's not an accusation.
No, not at all. It doesn't blame you for the performance. It doesn't say you're fake.
Precisely. Its power, according to the author, comes from just revealing something that was waiting to be seen.
Waiting to be seen. I like
Like the ultimate acknowledgement, the ultimate seeing. It looks right past the perfect exterior, the smile you've held for hours.
The one that makes your cheeks ache.
Yeah, that one. And it basically says, I see it. I see the performance. But more than that, I know what it cost you.
I know what it cost you to hold it. That's the line.
That's it.
And that recognition, that awareness of the hidden cost, that's what pulls you in, I think.
It legitimizes the exhaustion, doesn't it? Maybe the internal fracturing you might be feeling, but couldn't name.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
shifts the whole conversation away from, like, shame. I should be happy, why aren't I? And moves it towards just accepting the sheer effort involved. We spend so much energy keeping up the show
We do.
that we forget who we're even performing for. Sometimes I think it's mostly ourselves, trying to convince ourselves we're coping.
That's a sobering thought, convincing ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this heavy price tag. Let's dive into the first big theme the source gets into. The composure trap strength as disguised exhaustion.
Right. The composure trap. The source is pretty unflinching here, looking at our society.
It just states it plainly.
Well,
The world rewards composure. It loves that polished, unwavering surface.
because it signals control, right? Reliability, predictability, things that are valuable in, well, work and life generally.
Think about just, everyday interactions. A coworker asks how you are on a Monday morning.
Yep. Or a relative comments on your holiday pictures online.
The expectation is relentless positivity, isn't it? A continuous upward trend. Always fine.
Or better, thriving, living my best life.
Exactly. We're supposed to glow for the camera, even if that camera is just, our own face reflected in the laptop screen during a video call.
That systemic pressure, it creates this need for what the text calls emotional editing. It's a constant process.
Emotional editing. Tell me more about that.
Well, the author observes that behind all that polish inside, hearts shiver. That's the phrase he used.
Hearts shiver. Wow.
So we learn, almost without thinking, how to do the emotional labor required, how to tweak our voice to sound confident when we're not.
How to laugh at the right moment, even if nothing's funny.
Exactly. And how to rigorously edit our pain, as the text puts it. Just cut out any sign of struggle before it goes public.
And then there's this skill, this related skill, of dressing up our exhaustion, calling it grace.
Ah, yes. Dressing exhaustion in grace. That's such a critical point the source makes.
What does that mean exactly? Grace as curated suffering.
Pretty much. Grace in this context isn't about elegance, really. It's about carefully managing how your suffering appears, or rather, how it doesn't appear.
Making the effort invisible.
Precisely. The text suggests we achieve this kind of grace when we move through life looking calm, efficient, making everyone think our internal battery is always full.
Right. Like the professional who answers every email immediately has the perfect schedule.
But then spends their evenings just staring blankly, completely depleted. The grace is the appearance of effortless speed. The exhaustion is the blankness behind it.
So that's the mechanism of the pretense then.
What?
We're performing strength until, and this is a direct quote, even our own reflection believes it.
It becomes this deep feedback loop, yeah, internalize.
But the source offers this, well, it's quite a devastating critique, isn't it? A necessary one, maybe. Deconstructing what that celebrated performance actually is.
This is where it really challenges our standard ideas of, like, heroism or resilience. It takes apart the usual definition of strength.
How so?
It says, quite starkly, sometimes strength is nothing more than exhaustion in disguise.
Strength is exhaustion in disguise.
Okay.
That's potent.
It's not just a clever turn of phrase, though. It's pointing to a psychological mechanism.
Explain that a bit more.
We celebrate people for their, their tireless determination, their ability to push through.
Grit, perseverance.
Right, all those buzzwords. But the author suggests that this resolve might actually just be the leftover momentum of fatigue. Like, you're too tired not to keep going.
So it's not true strength.
Well, the text implies genuine strength involves resilience, the ability to recover, adapt, maybe even bend. This disguised exhaustion, though, it's more like the inability to stop.
Why? Because stopping feels like failing.
Exactly. So you just keep going, telling yourself and everyone else that it's strength.
Wow, okay.
And the energy for that disguise, it's not coming from a healthy place. It's fueled by anxiety, maybe, by burning yourself out at the edges. It's just unsustainable.
So we mistake momentum for actual motivation.
That's a good way to put it. The source hints that many people praised for their grit are maybe just too scared of what happens if they stop, too afraid of the collapse to ever dare stand still.
And the toll of keeping this up, this constant performance, it's physical, it's psychological. The source gets really specific about the marks it leaves.
It does. It talks about that specific kind of tiredness, the deep one, the one that sits behind the eyes.
It's behind the eyes. I think many people know that feeling.
It's more than just being physically sleepy, isn't it? It's like an internal knowing, the knowledge that you're constantly managing this complex emotional operation whenever you interact with anyone.
Yeah.
It's the exhaustion that sleep doesn't really fix because it's relational. It comes from the pressure to be something for other people.
And it shows up physically.
As a kind of dullness, maybe, or a guarded look in the eyes. That's how the text seems to frame it.
It also talks about the sheer effort in your face, the labor of the muscles.
Recognizing that feeling when you've smiled so long, your face just forgets what rest feels like.
When the laugh comes out. And maybe it sounds okay to others, but,
It sounds, as the text says, rehearsed. You've learned how to animate joy even when the actual feeling isn't there. The engine's off, but the display is still running.
And this leads to that moment, that internal reckoning the text describes, looking in the mirror.
Ah, the mirror. The great revealer.
It says the mirror stops reflecting the joy you're trying to project.
And instead, it starts showing the effort. The raw effort behind the pretense.
That split second where the mask slips and you catch yourself and you just look tired as you feel.
And that flicker of honesty, it's terrifying, right? Because it shows the gap, the chasm between the inside and the outside.
So what makes us push through that? Why snap the performance back into place?
Well, according to the source, it's fear, that little internal whisper it mentions. Just one more day.
Just keep it together for one more day.
Yeah, fueled by the fear of what might happen if you actually stopped performing. What if everything falls apart?
That fear, the fear of letting people down, maybe, of not holding things together for others.
Precisely. And that's the exact burden the text tackles next. It calls it the burden of holding the sky.
Holding the sky, that sounds heavy.
It is. This section digs into that unsustainable pressure to be constantly radiant, constantly emotionally available for others.
We get trained for that, don't we? To feel responsible not just for ourselves, but for everyone else's comfort. Colleagues, family, friends.
We do, and the source describes the light you project in that role, the comforting light, as the kind that shines for everyone else while burning itself away at the edges.
That's a powerful image. Shining for others, but consuming yourself.
It's that paradox of selflessness taken too far, isn't it? You become the go-to person, the emotional rock.
A source of comfort for the whole community.
But that light is running on your dwindling battery. The energy transfer is all one way, and the text suggests that while you might feel noble doing it,
You're actually heading for burnout. Complete internal depletion.
and often the calmer you seem on the outside, the more intense the storm is underneath, because people start relying on that calm image.
Right. They expect it.
The text uses the image of the steady, calm voice comforting others, even while silence presses down behind it.
The calm that hides a storm.
Exactly. People trust the calm surface, they rely on it, and they completely miss the hurricane churning just below, held back only by the sheer effort of keeping the lid on.
I think we all know people like that. Or maybe we are that person sometimes. Maintaining serenity when everything feels chaotic. But the source really challenges the value we place on that role, doesn't it? It questions why society demands this perpetual motion, this forced positivity.
Absolutely. It brings in this almost mythical image, feeling like you have to hold the whole sky.
Like the universe depends on your constant effort.
Yeah, as if, and this is paraphrasing the text slightly, the sun would forget to rise if you didn't personally hold it up.
Wow. That's the peak of the burden, isn't it? Internalizing the belief that if you stop, everything collapses. That deep anxiety that you have to be indispensable.
It's immense pressure.
But then, the text offers this counter-argument. It's gentle, but really revolutionary. A way out from under that crushing weight.
What is it?
It suggests, maybe, just maybe, you don't owe the world constant radiance.
That's the permission slip, isn't it?
It feels like it. The release from that impossible expectation.
It forces the question, then. If you don't owe the world that blinding, exhausting, supernova kind of light, what's the alternative? Is there another way to shine?
And the text says yes. It introduces this counter idea. Quietness as its own kind of light source.
Okay. Quiet as light. That's different from the performance-based radiance we were just talking about. That felt loud, demanding attention.
Right. This is different. The author describes quiet as a light that doesn't blind but warms.
Doesn't blind, but warms. That's a key distinction. The loud light of performance can be harsh, competitive maybe. It invites comparison.
Makes others feel inadequate sometimes.
Yeah. But this quiet light, it's just comforting. Like a background presence that sustains without needing to shout about it.
And the other crucial difference the text points out, it's a light that doesn't perform but simply exists.
Okay. Performance versus existence. What's the implication there?
Well, performance needs effort, right? Intention. An audience to validate it. Existence doesn't need any of that. It just is. To exist is just to be present without having to justify that presence through, visible work or big achievements.
So it's like the difference between a spotlight frantically searching.
And the gentle ambient light that just fills a room because the sun came up, it's just there.
That makes sense. That shift in thinking from performing to just existing. That feels like the bridge, then.
It is. It carries us right into the next section, Section 3, redefining happiness from chase to allowance.
Right. So we're moving away from the external pressures now and really looking inward, examining our own definition of what a good life, a content life, actually looks like.
Because culturally, for so long, happiness has been framed as this aggressive chase, hasn't it?
Like a target you have to hit or a mountain you have to climb. Always out there, somewhere else.
So the source starts by clearing the ground. It defines happiness by saying what it is not.
Which is helpful, actually, busting some myths.
So, first up, it is not something to chase.
Because the act of chasing itself implies it's not here, right? It keeps happiness perpetually in the distance. Makes you unhappy now while you're chasing it later.
Good point. Okay, what else is it not? It's not found in success or perfection or applause.
Right. And all those things, the chase, success, perfection, applause, they're all external, aren't they? Conditional.
They depend on other people, on
Right.
circumstances.
Exactly. They rely on comparison, on external validation. They're fleeting. I mean, if your happiness depends on applause, what happens when the room is silent?
Yeah. The source seems to suggest true happiness has to be more resilient than that. It has to withstand the quiet moments.
So if happiness isn't any of those external things, what's left? What is it, according to this text?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. It offers this core redefinition. It says, happiness is what remains when you stop performing for it.
Wow. Okay. Let's sit with that. What remains when you stop performing?
It flips the whole script, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It completely removes the pressure to create a happy moment or engineer it.
Instead, it suggests happiness is like the default state. What's underneath once you remove the effort of the performance?
The effort of appearing happy or successful?
Yeah.
It's presented as the residue of a quiet life, not the noisy prize you win in a loud one.
And this shift, it happens in the small, everyday moments, doesn't it?
Seems so. The text says it's found when the day no longer needs to sparkle.
Letting go of the need for every day to be amazing or Instagram-worthy.
Right. When you remove that pressure for the day to be extraordinary, you allow it to just be ordinary. And maybe that's where real peace lives, in the ordinary.
And this ties into another point it makes about quietness. Happiness is found when silence stops feeling like failure.
That's a big one. In our culture, silence often feels awkward, unproductive, like something's wrong.
Yeah, we associate it with inaction, lack of progress, or maybe even emotional avoidance. We get nervous in the gap.
We try to fill them quickly.
Exactly. But this text reframes silence completely. It's not empty. It's a space of deep, authentic presence.
A space where the pretense, the performance just can't survive because it takes too much energy.
So silence isn't a void to be filled. It's more like a canvas for truth. Necessary.
And this leads us to what feels like the absolute core idea, the critical synthesis of this whole thing.
What's that?
That peace. Peace is something you allow, not something you have to deserve.
Allow, not deserve. Okay. We really need to spend a moment on this. It feels fundamentally different.
It challenges so much of how we're taught to think, especially in the West, about earning things. Why do we default to that deserving model for peace or happiness?
Well, deserving implies a transaction, doesn't it? It gives you the illusion of control.
How so?
The logic is, if I work hard enough, if I achieve enough, maybe if I suffer enough or prove myself worthy, then, only then, do I earn the right to feel peaceful.
So peace becomes a future reward, conditional on effort, always just out of reach until you've paid for it.
Right. But the text flips that. It talks about allowance, and allowance implies inherent worth, something you don't have to earn.
Exactly. It suggests peace is maybe your natural state, your birthright even. And the only thing blocking it is the immense effort you put into preventing it.
By maintaining the performance, by striving for that deserving status that maybe isn't even real.
That seems to be the implication. Allowance is radical because it means letting go, surrendering the need to control everything, the need to constantly justify yourself.
So peace isn't a reward for being good enough.
It's just what happens naturally when you stop fighting your own existence so hard.
That's freeing, if you can accept it.
It is. So what does this allowed happiness look like then, if it's not the big, loud, performed version?
It's much quieter, according to the source. It says real happiness doesn't always laugh.
Sometimes it just breathes.
That breath, that feels key. It's the indicator of authenticity, isn't it? Of vitality.
Laughter can be faked, rehearsed. We talked about that.
But breathing, steady, unafraid breathing, you can't really fake that convincingly for long. When happiness is genuine, it doesn't need fireworks. It's just steady, quiet aliveness, a contentment in the ordinary.
It becomes this internal resource that's always there, maybe.
That's how the source describes it, sitting beside you in stillness until you finally notice that it never left.
So it was there all along, just buried under the noise.
Buried under the noise, the frantic effort, the blinding light of the performance. Yeah.
It's like realizing you were desperately chasing something that was already sitting patiently inside you the whole time.
That realization, that acceptance, that feels like the doorway then, the gateway to the next part.
It is.
Yeah.
Section 4. The permission to exist without explanation.
Okay. Permission to exist without explanation. If the goal is to stop performing, then the hope has to be for
Wow, just authentic existence, right?
an existence that isn't burdened by fear or the constant need to defend itself.
Yeah. The source talks about hoping for smiles that don't hide anything.
And smiles that come without effort, without rehearsal. Just think about the mental energy saved.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer bandwidth it takes every single day to maintain a guarded smile. That emotional muscle memory of the lie.
The hope is for a smile that's just spontaneous, the natural overflow of feeling okay inside, not a shield you put up.
And it contrasts two ways of facing the day. One is seeing the morning as armor you have to wear just to survive.
Bracing yourself for impact, getting ready to defend your boundaries, your peace, your energy.
Against all the demands the world's going to throw at you.
Yeah.
Versus experiencing the morning simply as arrival.
Arrival. What does that feel like?
Like presence, maybe.
No.
Acceptance of yourself as you are in that moment, and the incredible relief of realizing you don't have to defend your own existence anymore. That phrase hits hard. Defending your own existence. We do that, don't we? Constantly justifying why we are the way we are.
We do. But the text strongly affirms this idea of inherent worth, value that exists regardless of performance or what anyone else thinks.
It gives that ultimate permission slip again. You don't have to pretend to shine. Why?
You already do.
You already do.
It's such a powerful statement of, like, unearned grace. It insists that your true presence, your essential self, is already inherently valuable, already luminous.
Even if you don't feel it. Even if the world feels heavy.
Even then, the light might dim or bend, but the core spark is still there. And crucially, this is true even if no one else acknowledges it, because the source is internal, not external.
And the way this true shining manifests, it's different from the aggressive performance we talked about earlier.
Very different. The source clarifies that your presence, your true presence, changes the air around you, but it does it quietly and completely.
It's not a show. It's a state of being.
Exactly. The text says, that's not performance, that's truth.
Performance versus truth again.
It connects right back to that idea of quiet light, doesn't it? Truth doesn't need volume. It doesn't need validation from outside. It just is.
And that quiet, undeniable strength. That's the foundation for the permissions the text then explicitly grants. Things we need to grant ourselves.
These permissions feel so vital, so necessary, especially in a world that often denies them. We should probably list them out, let them land.
Good idea. Okay, first, you are allowed to rest.
Fundamental. The permission to just stop. To refuse the toxic demand for constant motion, constant productivity, even when everything screams, keep going.
Next, you are allowed to let the mask slip.
Permission to be seen, truly seen. Cracks, vulnerabilities, tiredness, all of it. Without that immediate reflex to apologize or fix the image.
You are allowed to be tired.
Permission to acknowledge the reality of the exhaustion, the same exhaustion we learned earlier, might be masquerading as strength. No more hiding it. Acknowledging reality over the preferred narrative.
And the big one, the umbrella permission, really. You are allowed to exist without explanation.
That's the ultimate release, isn't it, from that transactional way of living?
How so? What does it free you from?
From the constant, exhausting burden of justification. Justifying your choices, your feelings, why you need a pause, why you exist at all.
If you don't have to justify,
then you're finally free. Free to embrace the power of silence. Silence as truth.
The source hopes we can stop apologizing for silence.
Right.
And just allow it to speak.
We treat silence like it's failed communication, don't we? An awkward pause that needs filling with noise, with action, with something.
Anything but the silence itself.
But the text flips that too. It says, silence isn't emptiness, it's honesty without performance.
Honesty without performance. So emptiness implies a lack, a void.
Right, whereas honesty implies a fullness, a truth that doesn't need words, maybe even resists being distorted by words. Silence is where the soul can speak without the ego jumping in to manage the message.
It describes silence as the soul breathing when words would only bruise.
That resonates. Words often simplify, don't they? They flatten complex internal states into neat stories for other people.
And in doing that, you can end up bruising the actual truth of the feeling just to make it fit, make it acceptable.
Exactly. So silence in this context becomes the purest expression. Sometimes it's the only honest answer when words would just get in the way or cause more harm.
Embracing that honesty, that silence. It leads us to the final part, doesn't it? Section 5, the gentle return home, the final release.
Yes, this is the outcome. The destination may be after you stop the chase, drop the mask, and allow that authenticity to actually take root.
The text describes this feeling, the weight starting to loosen, the weight of everything you've been carrying, the armor, the performance, the constant need to explain yourself.
It starts to lift. But the crucial insight here, it's not what you might expect.
What is it?
The weight loosens not because the world grew lighter, but because you did.
So the world doesn't change. The pressures are still there.
Pretty much. The world stays heavy, complex, demanding. Accepting that, resigning to that reality, is actually part of finding peace. What changes is your internal posture.
How does that make you lighter?
By letting go of the armor, the need to defend, the need to control the narrative, the self becomes less rigid, more flexible, more porous maybe, and therefore lighter. You're not carrying the full weight internally anymore.
The source also has this really comforting take on loss, on change, even on things breaking.
It does. It suggests that nothing you've lost is taken away from who you are.
Okay.
It has only carved room for something gentler to arrive.
Carved room. So loss isn't just subtraction.
It's reframed as a necessary carving, like making space. You can only welcome gentleness or quiet or genuine presence into a space that's been cleared out.
Cleared of the old rigidity, the heavy armor of pretense and defense.
Exactly. Letting go of the false self makes room for the true self to breathe.
And when peace finally shows up in that cleared space, it's not a big dramatic entrance, is it? That would be another performance.
No, it's quiet. It doesn't find you as a flash of joy, like some sudden victory. It finds you as a soft, steady rhythm.
A rhythm. And it speaks. How does it speak?
It speaks in the language of your own heartbeat.
The language of your own heartbeat. Wow. That's the ultimate internal alignment, isn't it?
It feels like it. Your own quiet, physiological rhythm, the life force that's been there all along, keeping you going, that becomes the sound of your peace. It's primal. It's undeniable. Untouched by anyone else's opinion.
The source wraps up with a specific dedication, doesn't it? A note to someone named Ahmed. It feels like a summary of the whole message.
It really does. It's like a final, gentle affirmation for anyone who's been strong for too long, anyone who's mixed up effort with worth.
What does it say?
It basically affirms that you don't need strength to be loved. You don't need perfection to be worthy. The core message is just stop trying so hard to prove what's already true inside you. You don't need to prove what's already in you.
And the final hope the text expresses. For that day when you really are as happy as you once pretended to be, it's that it won't feel like a victory. Victory implies a struggle, effort.
Right. Instead, the hope is that it feels like something gentle returning home.
A homecoming.
A homecoming. And the silence, which used to feel empty or like failure. It's different now. It's soft now, full, alive, no longer demanding anything from you.
And if you listen, really listen, to that soft, full silence.
You realize it sounds just like your own heartbeat, steady and unafraid.
That steady, unafraid rhythm, that's the proof. The non-performative proof of existence without explanation.
That's how it feels. It's the quiet, inherent truth, the source of all the light you mistakenly thought you had to manufacture for everyone else.
So wrapping this up for you listening, what's the main takeaway? The central thesis of the quiet we finally allow seems to be in that final contrast.
True happiness isn't the blinding, exhausting light we chase.
It's the quiet, unearned peace we finally allow ourselves to feel.
Yeah. And the knowledge you gain from digging into this, it's not really about achieving more, is it? Or performing better.
No. It's about permitting less.
Permitting less effort, less justification, less self-defense. Giving yourself permission to just drop the armor. Let the quiet truth have some space.
The true strength, then, isn't the loud performance.
It's the quiet, unafraid presence. Just being.
So we've been guided by this idea that silence is honesty and that your heart at its core is steady and unafraid. As you go back into your day, maybe carry this question with you, a thought sparked by the text.
If silence really is honesty and your heart is steady and unafraid underneath it all, what internal performance are you still guarding? What mask are you still holding up? And what might it sound like if you just listened, really listened, to the truth breathing quietly inside you?